Hello, in this tutorial we're going to look at tripods for the use in photography. Which ones are the best ones, which ones to avoid, and just give you an introduction into what they do and what types are best for general use in photography. Hello, I'm Mark Newton from the School of Photography, and I'm going to talk to you about tripods and hopefully inform you a bit more into what they do and what ones are best for you. So when I'm teaching classes, it's something that I get asked a lot. What type of tripod shall I buy? What ones are best for landscapes? What ones are best for studio, etc, etc. So I'm going to hopefully go through that now with you and answer all of these questions. Let's start with what ones to avoid first. So these are the types, in my opinion, that you should just try and avoid. And they are the long, skinny, flimsy, plasticky types. They're really no good unless you've got a really small camera. They might be all right for the GoPros and for the very small types of cameras. General use in photography, these are no good. They'll be too wobbly, especially if you get a little bit of wind. They're not good to use, that's my opinion. And that's the first thing I think you need to know. So now let's look at a general rule. And the general rule is, try and get something that is portable enough, something that is light enough for you to carry around, but also strong enough and sturdy enough that it's not going to wobble around. And that's the general rule, really. If you keep that in mind, you're going to get a good tripod. Another thing to remember is to get a tripod that is strong enough to hold the weight of your camera and lens. If you've got a big camera, one of the more professional cameras, you're going to need a bigger tripod. If you've got one of the entry-level DSLRs or smaller cameras, then you can get away with a smaller tripod. Just make sure you've got one that is strong enough to take the weight of your camera and its lens. Another question is, should you get a metal one or a plastic one? Well, if you can afford it, get a metal one. It will be heavier, obviously, but weight is actually something that you want in a tripod. You obviously need it to be light enough to carry around, like I just said, but weight is going to hold the tripod to the ground. You do get ones that, like this one here, which is made up of a mixture of metal and plastic, and they're quite good as well, and they're like more of a budget model, but they're still good to get. But try to avoid the ones that are made solely from plastic. I don't think they're any good at all. The next thing to talk about is a quick release system. Now, most tripods these days come with a quick release system, and I would really recommend that you got one with a quick release system. And this is what it is. It's a tripod, and in the top of the tripod comes this, which is your quick release plate, and it screws into the bottom of your camera. Now that screw size fits all cameras, so you haven't got to worry about getting a certain tripod for a certain camera. That fits them all. And here's something to just remember, is that some plates have an arrow, and it tells you which way to point the arrow towards the lens. Like this one here, it says lens and an arrow, so you screw it in and that goes towards the lens. And then you've got other ones like this, which are a bit more plasticky, and they haven't got that. What they've actually got is this little bobble bit here, and you put that bobble bit towards the lens. And others actually have a point on the actual quick release plate, and that point goes towards the lens. And then once you've screwed your camera to the quick release plate, you clip it into place, and you make sure that the lens is away from you and the handle of the tripod comes towards you. Okay, the next thing to know is that some tripods come with the tripod body, and then you have to get a tripod head like this one here, and the head screws onto the body. And then other ones, more budget ones, it comes as an all-in-one like this one here. So there's nothing wrong, I don't think, with the all-in-one tripods. They're more of a budget model, and they work just as well and just fine. It's more to do with the size of the tripod that you get and that it takes your camera weight. Another thing to note is that you can get two different types of tripod heads. One is called a pan and tilt head, which is this one here, and then the other one is called a ball head, which is this one here. Now, I've got another tutorial on the differences between a pan and tilt and a ball head, and if you're interested in that, go and look at that. It's on the YouTube channel. I'll put a link to it so you can go and see that as well. But just to put it in a nutshell, a ball head is for speed, a pan and tilt head is for accuracy. Also, the height of the tripod, the height that it goes to, is not actually important unless you are literally gonna go to the height of the tripod. I mean, this one, for instance, goes right the way up there. So unless you're going to be shooting up there, there's no need for it. I think some tripod manufacturers put their height in to their description, thinking that people are going to buy them because they go higher. Well, the fact of the matter is, if you go really high on a tripod, it becomes less sturdy. So think about what you want to use your tripod for. If it's mainly eye level and below, you need your tripod to stay to this part of the tripod where it meets in the middle to stay roughly at your eye height. This bit where it goes up and down, that's where it can get a little bit less sturdy, so don't even worry about that. So look into that before you buy one as well. If you can get yourself to a camera shop, I would seriously recommend it. Take your camera with you to the camera shop, put your camera on their tripods, and just hold the top of your camera and move it. And it's the tripod that you're looking at. The tripod is not moving. Now, obviously this is because I'm pushing it around, but you can feel how solid it is. And if you put your camera on a tripod and you're moving it and it's got too much movement, you know that that's not the tripod for your camera. So I would recommend that you get yourself to a shop and try a few out. Okay, so let's just summarize what I've just said. Firstly, avoid the thin, flimsy ones. You want one that's portable but solid enough that it won't move around in the wind. Don't worry about how high they can go, just think about how high you want it to go. Make sure that the quick release place goes on the right way. So it's the bobble or the arrow towards the lens, the handle towards you. You can get an all-in-one tripod if your budget is tight, or get a tripod with a separate head if you have more money. Ball heads are for speed, pan and tilt heads are for accuracy, and if you can, try out a few first. And that's it guys, an introduction to tripods. I hope it's helped you out and informed you as to what one will be best for you. If it did, like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If there's anything that you want us to cover here at the School of Photography, then just put it in the comments below. It's really good for us. It helps us out making new tutorials for you guys. We've got a lovely photography learning community as well on social media. I'd love for you to join us there as well. Thanks for watching, and remember, learn more at the School of Photography.